scrolling through Facebook the other day and I saw this meme. You're not sick, you're under the weather. Really got me thinking. Everything in this realm is frequency, and disease is a disruption in frequency. We don't know the intention of these things, but I can pretty much, I'd bet a lot that it's not benevolent. So it's an interesting observation. There's definitely a reason for our phrasing. It's not arbitrary. English is an intricate spellcasting language. Have a good day. I recently looked up some unusual rocks, and here we've got the Eye of the Sahara. I got this image from Google Earth. Who knows what did that? Scientists are confused. Here's Sigiriya Fortress in Sri Lanka. Now, was this perhaps a bigger building at one point? Here's a fortress built into the rocks. Or perhaps there's more fortress under those rocks. Several boulders sliced into. Here you can search for boulders cut in half and find multiples. Giants swinging an axe, perhaps. Maybe they were bowling. I don't know. Punakaiki Pancake Rocks, New Zealand. Interesting. Now, there are a couple wave rocks, which I think of, some kind of weapon, doing liquefaction, and then it's solidifying. Mushroom-shaped rocks, or some kind of, maybe these were towers, pillars, some kind of structure. Rocks that look like mushrooms, you can find lots all around the world. And then, how do rocks form arches? I don't know. We need to ask ourselves, what was once here? This is Giant's Causeway. For some reason, when I was going through all these pictures, I thought of the Smurfs and the village full of, giant mushrooms and how they were all little. I don't know. Have a great day. When you give permission, that means you allow something. Maybe permission is per the mission of your spirit. It's okay. Allow could be all low, as in it's okay per the spirit of the all that's in the lower realms, which would be us. Have a good day. Hollywood productions have a cast. The wood of the holly tree, or holly wood, is what magic wands used to be made of. Don't we cast spells? Just like broadcasting. The media does a lot of broadcasting. The media is named after Medea, the Greek god of illusions. And they're broadly casting spells all over the place. Have a great day. There is a significant difference between an autograph and a signature. An autograph is signed by a living man, and it means self-written. A signature is signed by an artificial person or a dead thing. The word signature means a rescript, the matrix of a seal, to mark with a stamp. A signature is a mark or seal that suggests the existence of something that is not actually there. A person who makes a signature is an accommodation party enjoinder to an artificial legal person or name with dead status serving as surety for the corporate national debt in the Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction. In other words, the commerce game is fraud and the people are used as collateral for the debt of the U.S. corporation. So, the name on our birth certificate is your legal name, and it represents an artificial person that only exists on paper. This person is known as the Strawman Corporation. Now, this is a counterfeit name that the government gives you to trick you to do business with its corporations. The birth certificate represents the birth of a dead thing, and it's essentially a death certificate. And when you sign a signature line, you agree to play the game of commerce and act on behalf of this artificial person. You can dissolve your strawman corporation, but it is a process, and it's not a process that I have undertaken myself, so I don't know a whole lot about it. If you do know how to do that, please drop it in the comments. Have a great day. The demiurge is a term that you'll hear me use a lot, and so I thought I'd explain a little bit more about what that is. The demiurge is a malevolent creator god that created physical reality. It came into being through Sophia. Now, Sophia was one of the eons, which is a divine entity who descended from the Father of the All. Eons are similar to the concept of angels. Sophia and the rest of the eons form the pleroma, or the monad, and this is a pool of spirits who act as one and create together. Now, Sophia wanted to create on her own, and she went about it the wrong way. Instead of getting approval from the Father, she went ahead and just created on her own, and the demiurge is what arose. Yaldabaoth is the name of the demiurge, and it is a misshapen, belligerent creature that was utterly unlike any of the other heavenly beings. Sophia immediately realized that this was a horrible mistake and hid this child outside of the pleroma. The demiurge, now alone, believed that he was the only being who had ever existed and created the material world out of his ignorance, foolishness, and malevolence, and began to trap sparks of divinity, fire creation spirits, us, into this physical reality. Because of her mistake and its dire consequences, Sophia herself became a flawed being. And this deficiency made her unable to remain in the pleroma. She was placed just outside of the pleroma in a realm above her malevolent son. Sophia repented, and the Father agreed to bring her back to the pleroma once what had become lacking was restored to its natural fullness, which I feel means the destruction of the demiurge and the freeing of the creation spirits that have been trapped here. Sophia is similar to Mother Nature. She is a benevolent force of good that one can call on. Yaldabaoth, not so much. And that is the God in all of these texts. Have a good day. There's a place in the Bible called the Land of Nod. And I can't help but think that this reality we're in might be the land of Nod. People walking around spellbound, hypnotized, and sleeping. But anyhow, the land of Nod is discussed in chapter 4 of Genesis, and it is where Cain was exiled after killing his brother. He was exiled from Eden into the land of Nod. What I find interesting is, if Eden is the 4 continents around the North Pole that was on our maps until around the 1600s when that land started disappearing from the maps, then the land of Nod, which was described as being east of Eden, very well could be this realm. Have a good day. On the surface, the word infinite is defined as eternal or limitless. But when you look into the etymology, it looks a little different. Infinite comes from in and finite. In meaning not or opposite of. Finite comes from finitus, which means defining or definite. So infinite means not defined or opposite of definite. Okay, well, what is defined? Define comes from de, meaning completely, and fine, which comes from finire, meaning bound. So define is completely bound. So to be infinite would be not completely bound. Interesting. Have a great day. On the surface, the word needle looks harmless enough. It's defined as a small pointed instrument for carrying thread. But when we split it apart, we get need and L. Now, a need is defined as what is required, wanted, or a hardship. It comes from the root nadi, meaning death or to be exhausted. Interesting. Then we have L, which means a repeated or continuous action. El also can refer to Elohim or the gods. So, if you piece that together, a needle would be a continuous action of death or death of a god. Interesting. Have a great day.
Somebody asked me what my plans were for the fall, and it took me way too long to realize that they meant autumn and not the collapse of civilization.
I've tried to upload a couple of responses, but they won't go. I do have a theory. So, to live, we live a life. To live is to be alive, have life, continue in life, to experience. It's from the Proto-Indo-European leap, which means to stick, adhere, to remain, or to continue. Now, a life is an animated corporeal existence, a period between birth and death, energy and action. It is existence imparted by God through believing in Christ. So, let's say following the light and believing in Christ saving you keeps you in the reincarnation trap. We are eternal spirits that should not have segmented lives, a life or a file. We have been taken in here and enslaved. We are divine sparks of creation that have been taken and enslaved, and we're being used for our life force energy. And we've been given a life to live, and that might be evil. Have a good day.